The rain came down in sheets, turning Seattle's streets into mirrors that reflected neon and headlights. Harper Lane's fingers ached as she wiped down the espresso machine for the third time that hour. The closing shift at Harbor Cup Café always dragged, but tonight felt endless. Her lower back had been complaining since noon, a dull throb that pregnancy books cheerfully called normal discomfort. Her phone sat on the back counter, screen dark, battery icon flashing red. 2%. She'd forgotten to charge it again. "You good to lock up?" Quinn called from the storage room, keys jangling. "Yeah, go. Your granddad needs his meds on time." Harper forced a smile she didn't feel. Quinn hesitated in the doorway, rain jacket half-zipped. "You sure? You look." "I'm fine. Just tired." Harper waved them off before the concern could deepen into questions she didn't want to answer. Before we jump back and tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The door chimed. Alone now, Harper pulled her phone from her apron and squinted at the clinic's number she'd scrawled on a napkin days ago. She had a question about the cramping, nothing urgent, but the midwife had said to call anytime. Her thumb hovered over the digits, trying to read her own smudged handwriting under the fluorescent lights. She dialed. It rang twice. Whitaker. The voice was deep, clipped, efficient. A man accustomed to people waiting for him, not the other way around. Harper blinked. "Oh, I'm sorry, I think I have the wrong." "Who is this?" Not rude, exactly, but the tone of someone whose time was calculated in six-figure increments. "I was trying to reach my clinic. I must have misdialed." She started to pull the phone away from her ear. "Wait." A pause. "Are you pregnant?" The question froze her. "Excuse me. I just received a call about a prenatal case. And then you." He stopped himself. "Never mind. Wrong connection. My apologies." The line went dead. Harper stared at her phone. The battery icon blinked once more, and the screen went black. "Perfect," she muttered, shoving it back into her apron. She'd charge it at home, call the clinic tomorrow. The cramping wasn't that bad. Across the city, in a glass-walled office on the 47th floor, Cole Whitaker set his phone down with unusual care. His assistant had left hours ago. The building was silent except for the hum of servers and the rain against the windows. His other line rang. "Whitaker. Mr. Whitaker, this is Dr. Avery Collins from Seattle Memorial NICU. I'm calling about the authorization for the neonatal gene therapy slot." Cole straightened in his chair. "I didn't submit any authorization." A beat of silence. "Sir, our system shows your approval code attached to a registry match. Patient ID collision, flagged for priority access under the Whitaker Initiative." "What patient?" "I can't share identifiers without consent, but the match came through 20 minutes ago. Prenatal flag, high-risk variant. I'm calling because our protocol requires verbal confirmation from the primary donor when the system auto-enrolls." Cole's jaw tightened. The Whitaker Initiative was supposed to streamline access to cutting-edge neonatal care, not override anyone's agency. "Dr. Collins, I did not authorize anything. There's been a mistake." "Understood. I'll flag it for review." Collins's voice remained steady, clinical. "But if the patient delivers tonight and the infant qualifies, we'll need clarity fast. Gene therapy windows are narrow." "Then get clarity from the mother, not from me." Cole's words came out sharper than he intended. He softened his tone. "I'll have my team look into the system error immediately. But no procedures without informed maternal consent. That's non-negotiable." "Agreed. I'll note the file." Collins paused. "For what it's worth, Mr. Whitaker, I appreciate the principle. Not everyone with a name on a building says that." The call ended. Cole stared at the rain. The wrong number, the mysterious pregnant caller, and now this. He pressed the intercom. "Marcus, I need you." Within 2 minutes, his head of security appeared, still wearing his coat. Marcus Doyle moved like water, silent and deliberate. Former Coast Guard, moral compass embedded somewhere beneath the quiet exterior. "Problem?" Marcus asked. "Possible data breach at the hospital. A pregnant woman just accidentally called me, and minutes later a neonatologist called about an authorization I never gave. I need you to trace the clerical error, quietly, and make sure no one's privacy gets trampled in the process." Marcus nodded. On it. Harper made it 3 blocks before the first real contraction hit. She stopped under a bus shelter, hand braced against the graffitied plexiglass, breathing through the vice clamping around her belly. Not Braxton Hicks. Not normal discomfort. This was the real thing, and she was alone, soaked, with a dead phone. The contraction eased. She fumbled in her bag for the backup charger that wasn't there. Stupid, 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 she hissed. A car honked. She looked up. Quinn's beat-up sedan fishtailed to the curb, passenger window already down. Get in. I told you to go home. And I circled back, because you look like death. Now get in before you have that baby on the sidewalk. Harper didn't argue. She folded herself into the passenger seat, seatbelt barely clicking before Quinn hit the gas. Hospital? Quinn asked. Seattle Memorial. It's where. Another contraction cut her off. She gripped the door handle, counting seconds. Quinn's hand found hers, squeezed once. Breathe. You've got this. Harper's phone, plugged into Quinn's car charger, buzzed to life. A text from an unknown number appeared on the screen. Pre-admit completed. Whitaker authorization confirmed. Welcome to Seattle Memorial NICU Priority Care. Harper stared at the message, rain drumming on the roof. What authorization? Quinn glanced over. What? I didn't authorize anything. Deal with it later. Right now, we're having a baby. The hospital loomed ahead, all steel and glass. The Whitaker name etched in letters 3 feet tall above the main entrance. The labor and delivery wing smelled like antiseptic and new carpet. Everything gleamed. Chrome fixtures, touchscreen monitors, motivational art featuring sunrises, and the word strength in swooping fonts. Harper barely noticed. The contractions were coming fast now, each one stealing her breath and her ability to think past the next 60 seconds. You're doing great, Tessa Brooks said, adjusting the fetal monitor strap across Harper's belly. The NICU nurse had kind eyes and hands that moved with the confidence of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. Baby's heart rate is strong. We're going to take good care of both of you. Harper wanted to ask about the text message, about the mysterious authorization, but another wave hit, and the words dissolved into gasping focus. 3 hours later, Junie arrived. Tiny. Too tiny. A kitten-sized scrap of human with translucent skin and a cry that sounded more like a mew. The delivery team moved fast, a choreographed blur of gloved hands and calm voices. 34 weeks, someone said. Respiratory effort fair. Probable cardiac involvement. Prep NICU transport. Harper tried to sit up. Wait, what's wrong? She's breathing on her own, which is excellent, Tessa said, already wrapping Junie in warmed blankets. But she's early, and we're seeing some signs that mean she needs a bit more support than we can give her here. Dr. Collins is waiting upstairs in the NICU. I promise, we'll get you up there as soon as you're stable. Junie disappeared through the doors before Harper could touch her. Quinn gripped Harper's hand. She's alive. That's what matters. Everything else, we'll figure out. Harper nodded, but the tears came anyway, hot and helpless. 2 hours later, Harper sat in a wheelchair outside the NICU entrance, scrubbed and gowned, still shaking from the epidural and adrenaline. Through the glass, she could see rows of isolettes, each one a tiny spaceship with its own universe of tubes and wires. Tessa appeared beside her. Ready? Harper nodded. The NICU was quieter than she expected. Soft beeps, the hush of ventilators, whispered conversations between nurses. Tessa wheeled her to the third bay on the left. There, Junie, impossibly small under the warming lights, a tangle of monitoring leads taped to her bird-bone chest. But her eyes were closed, her miniature fists clenched, and Harper could see the fragile rise and fall of her breathing. You can touch her, Tessa said gently. Through the porthole. She'll know you're here. Harper slid her hand through the opening, fingertips brushing Junie's palm. The baby's fingers curled reflexively, gripping with startling strength. Hey, little fighter, Harper whispered. Dr. Avery Collins approached, tablet in hand. 50-something, wire-rimmed glasses, the kind of face that looked like it smiled easily, but was currently set in careful neutrality. Ms. Lane, I'm Dr. Collins. I oversee the gene therapy program here. Your daughter has a suspected cardiac genetic anomaly, a variant we can image and potentially treat. But I need to talk to you about something unusual that happened with your chart. Harper looked up. The authorization text. Collins nodded. Yes, our system pre-flagged your daughter for a donor-funded fast-track program before she was even born. It attached an approval code to your file without your signature. She pulled up a screen and turned it so Harper could see. There, in bold letters, Whitaker authorization, Priority enrollment confirmed. I didn't sign that, Harper said. I know. That's the problem. Collins set the tablet down. There's been a clerical error involving our donor registry. I've already flagged it, but in the meantime, I want to be very clear. We will not proceed with any therapy without your informed consent. Not the system's. Not a donor's. Yours. A woman in a sharp blazer appeared at the edge of the bay. Lena Carlisle, Chief of Staff, according to her badge. Her smile was polished, her tone smooth. Dr. Collins, a word? Collins didn't move. We're in the middle of a patient consult. It's regarding the authorization protocol. We have a limited therapy window, and if the standing donor approval is already in place. Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time. So if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. There is no standing approval, Collins said evenly. There's a clerical error and a mother who hasn't consented. We wait. Lena's smile tightened. I'll schedule a meeting for tomorrow morning. We need to clarify the pipeline process. Fine. Tomorrow. Collins turned back to Harper. For now, rest. We're monitoring Junie closely, and we'll reconvene in the morning to discuss options. You're not alone in this. Harper nodded, but her eyes stayed on the screen, on the name Whitaker stamped across her daughter's care plan like a brand she never asked for. The conference room had fog windows and too many chairs. Harper sat between Quinn and a cup of coffee she hadn't touched, watching a flowchart appear on the wall-mounted screen. Colored boxes, arrows, timers ticking down in red. Dr. Collins stood at the front, remote in hand. Tessa sat nearby, notepad ready. Lena Carlisle occupied the head of the table, flanked by two administrators Harper didn't recognize. Let me walk you through what happened, Collins said. The flowchart zoomed in on a single node, registry ID collision. Our hospital uses a donor-linked pre-enrollment system designed to expedite care for eligible infants. It's meant to reduce paperwork and get babies into therapy faster. Efficiency, Lena added. Lives saved per hour. Collins shot her a look. In theory. In practice, your intake form triggered a match with an existing donor registry ID. But that ID wasn't yours. It belonged to someone else, and the system mistakenly linked your unborn child to a Whitaker Initiative approval code. Harper's stomach dropped. So my baby was signed up for an experiment because of a typo? Not an experiment, Lena said quickly. A proven therapy with documented outcomes. That requires informed consent, Collins interrupted, which Ms. Lane did not provide. The screen changed. A video window opened. Cole Whitaker appeared, seated in what looked like a home office, rain visible through the window behind him. He wore a gray sweater, no tie, and his expression was unguarded in a way that made Harper sit up straighter. Ms. Lane, he said, voice calm but weighted. I owe you an apology. The system I funded was built to help families access life-saving care, not to override their choices. What happened to you is exactly the kind of harm I wanted to prevent. He paused. I've asked Dr. Collins and the ethics board to disentangle my name from any clinical approvals. My role is financial support, nothing more. Your daughter's care is your decision. Full stop. Lena's jaw tightened. Mr. Whitaker, with respect, the donor pipeline is what makes this program sustainable. If we add friction, then we add friction, Cole said. Consent isn't friction. It's the foundation. Harper found her voice. Why was your name on my file at all? Collins answered. Because the registry auto-flags high-risk cases for priority slots when donor funding is available. It's supposed to be a safety net, not a pre-authorization. But the software doesn't distinguish well, and when your ID collided with an existing entry, the system assumed approval had already been granted. By me, Cole added. Which it wasn't. I didn't even know your daughter existed until Dr. Collins called me last night. Quinn leaned forward. So what happens now? A new voice entered the room. Dana Reeves, hospital social worker, slipped into a seat beside Harper. Mid-40s, steady gaze, the kind of person who'd seen every version of hard and still showed up. Now we fix it. I'm here to walk you through your options, legal rights, financial assistance, insurance gaps, all of it. And we make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. Lena's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, her face going pale. The press has the story. Collins swore under her breath. Cole's image on the screen didn't flicker. Let them have it. We'll respond with the truth. We made a mistake. We're fixing it. And patient consent comes first. Lena stood abruptly. This could tank donor confidence. Then we rebuild it the right way, Cole said, starting with transparency. Before anyone could respond, an alarm pierced the room. Not the fire alarm. The NICU code alarm. Tessa was already moving. That's Junie's bay. Harper ran. The NICU was controlled chaos. Nurses flowed around Junie's isolette like a murmuration, hands quick, voices low and sure. Harper stopped at the edge of the bay, frozen, as numbers on the monitor climbed and dipped in sickening waves. Brady event, someone said. O2 sat dropping. Tessa's hands moved inside the isolette, adjusting tubes, checking leads. Come on, sweetheart. Breathe. Dr. Collins appeared, stethoscope already out. She listened, frowned, adjusted the ventilator settings. 10 seconds. 20. Junie's number stabilized. The room exhaled. Collins turned to Harper. She's okay. It was a bradycardia episode, not uncommon in preemies. Her heart rate dropped, but she recovered quickly. We're increasing her respiratory support as a precaution. Harper couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The edges of her vision went gray. Sit, Tessa said, guiding her into a chair. Head between your knees. Breathe with me. Quinn's hand found Harper's back. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. You've got this. The panic ebbed slowly, leaving Harper hollow and shaking. A wet nose nudged her knee. She looked down. An Australian shepherd sat beside her chair, amber eyes patient and kind. His vest read Moose, therapy dog in cheerful letters. He's part of our family support program, Tessa explained. Rounds twice a day. Moose, this is Harper. Moose leaned his weight against Harper's legs, solid and warm. She buried her fingers in his fur, and something inside her chest unlocked. The tears came then, hot and helpless, and Moose stayed perfectly still, a soft anchor in the storm. After a long moment, Harper looked up at Collins. Tell me everything. No jargon. No softening. I need to understand what's happening to my daughter. Collins pulled up a chair. Okay, here's what we know. The hospital boardroom smelled like coffee and anxiety. Lena Carlisle stood at the head of the table, flanked by the PR director and the hospital's legal counsel. On the screen behind her, headlines scrolled in real time. Billionaire's system overrides mother's consent. Seattle hospital faces backlash over auto-enrollment protocol. Whitaker initiative under fire. Who controls your baby's care? We need a unified message, the PR director said, fingers flying across his tablet. No comment. Pending review. Commitment to patient-centered care. Or we tell the truth. Cole's voice cut through the speaker. He was on video again, Marcus standing just out of frame. We admit the system failed, we outline the fix, and we let families speak. Lena's expression hardened. That invites lawsuits. Then we invite them, Cole said. Because the alternative is proving every critic right, that we value throughput over people. Legal counsel cleared his throat. There's another complication. The biological father has surfaced. Harper, seated at the far end of the table with Dana and Quinn, went cold. Shane Porter. The lawyer continued, sliding a document across the table. He's threatening to petition for joint medical decision-making authority. Claims he was never properly notified about the pregnancy or birth. Because he walked out, Harper said flatly. 6 months ago. No calls. No support. Nothing. Legally, that may not matter, the lawyer said, not unkindly. If he files, this gets complicated fast. Dana leaned in. We'll document everything. Every missed call, every broken promise. And we'll make it very clear that medical decisions remain with the custodial parent unless a court says otherwise. Quinn's hand found Harper's under the table. We're not letting him use Junie as leverage. On the screen, Cole spoke again. Ms. Lane, you have my full support. Legal, financial, whatever you need to keep control of your daughter's care. Marcus will coordinate security to keep the press and anyone else away from the NICU. Marcus's voice came through, calm and certain. Already done. Perimeters locked down. No one gets through who shouldn't. Lena's phone buzzed again. She glanced at it and sighed. The ethics chair is calling an emergency review. Dr. Adler wants a full panel tomorrow morning. Collins, sitting beside Harper, nodded. Good. Let's get this on the record. Harper looked at the table, at the faces around it. Some allies, some obstacles, all tangled in the machinery of systems too big to see clearly. But Junie was 3 floors up, fighting for every breath. I don't care about headlines, Harper said. her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. I care about my daughter. So whatever meeting, whatever review, whatever paperwork you need, I'll be there. But at the end of it, the decision is mine, not the system's, not his. She looked at Cole's image on the screen. And not yours. Understood. Cole met her gaze through the camera. Understood. The room fell silent, the weight of it settling like snow. Tessa appeared in the doorway. Harper? Junie's awake. She's asking for you. Harper stood. Quinn and Dana followed. Behind them, the boardroom erupted into competing plans, damage control, and contingency protocols. But Harper was already gone, moving toward the only thing that mattered. Dr. Jamie Adler's conference room felt different from Lena's boardroom. Smaller, warmer, a wooden table instead of glass, and windows that overlooked the hospital garden instead of the parking structure. Adler himself sat at the center, silver-haired and deliberate, with the kind of face that had seen too many gray areas turn into guardrails. Thank you all for coming on short notice, he said. Around the table sat Collins, Tessa, Lena, two patient representatives Harper didn't recognize, a hospital lawyer, and Dana. Cole attended by video, Marcus visible in the background. We're here because a system designed to save lives nearly steamrolled someone's autonomy. That cannot stand. Lena started to speak, but Adler raised a hand. Ms. Lane, would you like to begin? Harper's throat tightened. She'd rehearsed this with Dana last night, but the words felt slippery now. Quinn squeezed her hand under the table. I'm not against help, Harper said. I'm not against the therapy. But when I woke up after delivering my daughter, I found out decisions had already been made. My baby had been enrolled in something I didn't understand, attached to someone's name I'd never met, and I wasn't asked. I was told. Her voice steadied. Being poor doesn't mean I don't get a say. Being overwhelmed doesn't mean someone else gets to choose for me. One of the patient representatives, an older woman with kind eyes, nodded. That's what we call substituted judgment. It's what happens when systems assume they know better. Adler made a note. Dr. Collins, walk us through the clinical timeline. Collins did. The registry collision. The auto-enrollment. The standing donor approval that wasn't standing at all. She concluded with the bradycardia event and the current treatment plan. Diagnostics first. Therapy only with documented maternal consent. And the window? Adler asked. 36 hours, maybe 48, for optimal intervention, Collins said. But Junie is stable enough to wait for clarity. Lena leaned forward. With respect, every hour we delay is a risk. If we have funding, if we have capacity, if the therapy is indicated, why are we creating barriers? Because consent isn't a barrier, Adler said quietly. It's the foundation. Pre-authorization isn't consent. It's assumption. The lawyer spoke up. We'll need a documented reconsent protocol. Something ironclad. Dana pulled out a folder. I've drafted a framework. Mandatory reconsent checkpoints for any donor-linked enrollment. Plain language explanations. 72-hour cooling-off periods for non-emergency procedures. And a firewall between donor influence and clinical decision-making. Cole's voice came through the speaker. I'll sign anything that makes that firewall real. My name shouldn't override a parent's voice. Ever. Lena's expression flickered. Surprise, maybe respect. That's a substantial shift in protocol. Then we shift, Adler said. He looked at Harper. Ms. Lane, if we implement these changes, if Dr. Collins walks you through every detail of the therapy, and if you decide it's right for Junie, would you consider proceeding? Harper looked at Junie's latest stats on Tessa's tablet. Oxygen levels holding. Heart rate steady. Tiny, but fighting. If I understand it. If it's my choice. If no one rushes me. She met Adler's eyes. Then yes. I'd consider it. Adler nodded. Then we have a path forward. Dr. Collins, you have 24 hours to provide Ms. Lane with a full briefing. Lena, you have the same time to implement the reconsent checkpoints. Mr. Whitaker, I'll need that firewall waiver signed by tomorrow morning. Done, Cole said. As the meeting adjourned, Adler stopped Harper at the door. For what it's worth, Ms. Lane, what you did today, speaking up when systems told you to be quiet. That's how we fix things. One voice at a time. Harper nodded, too exhausted for words. Upstairs, Junie slept. The monitors beeped their steady rhythm. Outside, storm clouds gathered. The rain returned with a vengeance, lashing the hospital windows and flickering the lights. Backup generators hummed to life, casting the NICU in softer, amber tones. Harper sat beside Junie's isolette. hand resting against the warm plastic, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall. Collins appeared with a tablet and a chair. Ready? Harper nodded. For the next hour, Collins walked her through everything. The genetic variant. The therapy mechanism. Risks, minimal but present. Benefits, significant if the timing was right. She showed Harper videos, diagrams, outcome data. She answered every question twice. What if it doesn't work? Harper asked. Then we have backup plans. Medication. Surgery when she's stronger. This isn't all or nothing. And if I say no, then we say no. Collins's gaze was steady. You're her mother. That's not a technicality. A second alarm cut through the room. Junie's oxygen levels dropped. The team moved again, that same practice ballet, and Harper's breath caught in her throat. Tessa adjusted the settings. The numbers climbed. She's okay, Tessa said. But she's working hard, Harper. The therapy could give her an edge. When the crisis passed, Harper found herself in the family lounge, shaking. Quinn brought tea. Dana brought paperwork. And then, unexpectedly, Cole Whitaker walked in, not on a screen, but in person, soaked from the rain, no security, no fanfare. I'm sorry, he said. I should have asked before coming. But I wanted to tell you something face to face. Harper waited. My sister Emily died when she was 6. Same kind of condition Junie has. His voice was quiet, raw. I built all of this, the funding, the programs, the systems, because I couldn't save her. But somewhere along the way, I forgot that help only works if people want it. If they choose it. He met Harper's eyes. So I'm not here to push. I'm here to say, whatever you need, however you need it, I'll make it happen. But it's your call. Always. Harper's throat tightened. Why do you care so much? Because Emily would have hated what happened to you. She left me a notebook once, full of ideas about how hospitals should work. One line stuck with me. Consent that feels like consent. He smiled faintly. She was 10 when she wrote that. Smarter than I'll ever be. Moose appeared then, his handler trailing behind, and the big dog went straight to Harper, resting his head on her knee. She buried her fingers in his fur and let herself breathe. Help me my way, Harper said finally. No calls. No approvals. Just, be here if I need you. Cole nodded. Done. Outside, lightning split the sky. Inside, Junie's monitors held steady. Dana approached with a folder. Emergency housing grant approved. 3 months of rent covered. And your EMT program is holding your spot. Harper stared. How? Don't ask, Dana said with a small smile. Just accept. Morning came slowly, gray and soft. Harper sat in the consultation room. Consent forms spread before her. Collins on one side. Tessa on the other. Cole had signed his firewall waiver an hour ago. Now it was her turn. The pen felt heavier than it should. Harper read the document one more time. Quinn leaning over her shoulder. Dana highlighting key sections. You can still say no, Collins reminded her. Or wait. Or ask for more time. Harper looked at the monitor feed showing Junie's bay. Her daughter, tiny and fierce, gripping the world with translucent fingers. What would you do? Harper asked. If she were yours. Collins didn't hesitate. I'd be terrified. And I'd probably say yes. But that's me. You have to live with this decision, not me. Harper nodded. She thought of the wrong number, the collision, the system that had tried to choose for her. She thought of Cole's sister, of Moose's steady warmth, of Quinn's hand in hers through every crisis. She signed. On my terms, she said. With full transparency. And if anything feels wrong, we stop. Collins countersigned. Agreed. Lena appeared in the doorway, tablet in hand. The reconsent protocol is live. Board approved it an hour ago. Good, Adler said from behind her. He held up a memo. And effective immediately, the Whitaker firewall is hospital policy. Donor funding and clinical decisions are now formally separated. Cole, watching by video, exhaled. Thank you. Tessa came to collect Harper. Ready? We start in 20 minutes. Harper stood. Her hands were steady now. Let's go. The NICU team prepped with quiet efficiency. Harper stood at the isolette, one hand inside, touching Junie's palm. The baby's fingers curled around hers. You've got this, little fighter, Harper whispered. We've got this. The therapy began. Numbers on screens. Medicine through tiny lines. Tessa narrating every step. Harper didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just held on. The first 6 hours were agony. Junie's vitals swung like a pendulum, stable, then dipping, then climbing again. Harper lived in the chair beside the isolette, Quinn bringing food she didn't eat, Dana checking in every hour. At hour 8, something shifted. Her oxygen saturation is improving, Tessa said, cautious hope in her voice. Holding steady at 94%. Collins reviewed the biomarkers. Early indicators are positive. Cardiac function is responding. By hour 12, Junie's ventilator settings had been reduced. By hour 18, her color had changed from translucent to pink. Marcus, maintaining his perimeter outside, quietly turned away a TV crew. The hospital released a statement, co-signed by Cole. We failed Harper Lane and her daughter. We are implementing immediate reforms to ensure donor funding never overrides parental consent. This is not a publicity campaign. This is accountability. The media storm continued, but inside the NICU, something quieter was happening. Lena appeared at Harper's side. Ms. Lane, I owe you an apology. I prioritized the system over the person. That was wrong. Harper looked up, surprised. I'm overseeing the protocol rollout personally, Lena continued. Making sure what happened to you doesn't happen to anyone else. Harper nodded. Thank you. Shane tried once more to force his way into the conversation, threatening legal action, demanding rights he'd abandoned. Dana shut him down with documentation and a restraining order. He left, loud and bitter, but he left. On day 2, Moose made his rounds. Junie, awake and alert for the first time, tracked the dog with wide eyes. Moose sat perfectly still beside the isolette, as if he understood the fragility of the moment. Harper let herself cry. Relief, exhaustion, gratitude. Cole visited again, briefly. She's beautiful, he said. Strong, like her mom. Harper smiled. Thank you. For stepping back. For listening. Thank you for teaching me how. The hospital auditorium was packed. Staff. Families. Press. Harper sat in the front row. Junie, finally out of the isolette, bundled against her chest in a wrap. Quinn on one side. Dana on the other. On stage, a single slide. The Whitaker rule. Consent before pipeline. Cole spoke first. Briefly. Vulnerably. My sister Emily believed consent should feel like consent. I forgot that when I built these systems. Harper Lane reminded me. He looked at Harper. Thank you. Harper took the stage, Junie sleeping against her heart. I didn't ask for any of this, she began. A wrong number. A clerical error. A fight I shouldn't have had to fight. She paused. But here's what I learned. Systems only work when people come first. Not efficiency. Not donors. People. The room was silent. Collins presented the outcomes. Better satisfaction scores. Equitable access. No delays in life-saving care. Lena announced the implementation plan. Mandatory reconsent. Donor firewalls. Transparency at every step. Adler unveiled the formal policy, named for the man who funded it and the woman who fixed it. As the applause faded, Moose and his handler walked onto the stage. The dog went straight to Harper, tail wagging, and Junie woke just enough to reach one tiny hand toward his fur. The cameras captured it, the moment the system became human again. Afterward, in the quiet of the NICU family lounge, Harper sat with Junie, Quinn beside her, and looked out at the city. What now? Quinn asked. Harper smiled. EMT classes start next month. Junie comes with me, and I'm joining the Family Advisory Council. Of course you are. Cole appeared in the doorway, hesitant. I don't want to intrude, but there's a national rollout of the consent model. Listening sessions, not algorithms. I'd like your input. Harper looked at Junie, at the pink flush in her cheeks, the steady rhythm of her breathing. I'm in, Harper said. But we do it right. Always, Cole agreed. Outside, the rain had stopped. The city gleamed, washed clean. And in the NICU behind them, monitors beeped their steady song. A symphony of small victories, hard-won boundaries, and the fierce, fragile triumph of being heard. Up next, we have 2 more incredible stories that are waiting for you. Just click the image you want to watch, and it will take you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. It would mean a lot.